It came from a moment or a series of moments when you had an insight or you realized, I can do this. I can do what they're doing. I see these people online creating these wonderful lives, making money, creating their own life, their own hours, their own freedom. I can do that. We run an online life coach training company. We offer ICF Accredited programs to people who want to get serious about pursuing the career of life coaching. And I started my business in January of 2015. At that time, I had just graduated with a master's degree from Columbia University. I was 40 years old. I was 8 years sober. Prior to getting sober, I spent many years drinking, suffering, in and out of different institutions. At the end, I was living in homeless shelters. I wound up getting committed to a 6-month rehab in a Salvation Army adult rehabilitation center, got sober in there, and then have stayed sober through 12-step recovery. So in January of 2015, when I started my business, I listened to what the online gurus said that you have to do in order to build a business. You have to develop an online platform, you have to get a social media following, you have to have a Facebook business page, you have to have a website, you have to have a logo, you have to have a brand, you have to spend all day and every day trying to get people interested in what you're offering, and that's what I did. So I spent 2 years from January of 2015 through January of 2017 as a professional life coach, creating online programs, courses to serve people, to help people level up their life. And I did almost no coaching. I spent all of my time marketing, and what I was doing was marketing something that people really don't understand. There's something for you all to understand about life coaching, and that is people haven't heard of it, they don't understand it, they're very resistant to it, the idea that someone is going to, quote, tell them how to live their lives. And so at the end, I had been living on credit cards. I kept thinking that the next launch would be what got me to finally start to make some income. And I ended up having to file for bankruptcy. I was living in Manhattan at the time. I had a 1-bedroom apartment. In order to try to build this business, I was renting out the majority of my apartment to guests from all over the world through Airbnb. And this was in the early years of Airbnb. I had a large walk-in closet. And when the guests were there, which were 25 to 28 nights out of every month, I would sleep in the closet. And so there was a tremendous amount of sacrifice for me early on building the business, only for it to not work. And there was a night where I recall I was laying on the floor. I lived on a mattress because there wasn't enough room for an actual bed in the closet. Meanwhile, the Airbnb guests from whatever country they were from, they were out in my apartment enjoying the dining room and the living room and the kitchen. And I was laying there. I was in bankruptcy court at that time. I had been sued by Bank of America and American Express for the unpaid credit cards. And I just laid there thinking all the work that I've put in. Years of recovery, years of going back to school, years of trying to get an Ivy League education with the hope that somehow that would help build the business. The last couple of years in every day, all day, just about 7 days a week trying to build this business only to have no business. I had the realization that this is never going to work. And it was a really dark time for me, a time where, to be honest, I almost thought I couldn't continue with life. It was that bad. And I was fortunate that I was fully committed. I was stuck. I had gone all in. In fact, I went back to college after getting sober. I got a degree in religious studies. I focused on South Asian religions. And in graduate school, I focused on Hinduism, lived and studied in India, and I pursued things that I wanted to pursue based on the commitment that when I get done with school, I'm going to build a business doing what I want to do rather than what I think I have to do or need to do or what somebody else says I should do. So in a sense, I had no plan B. There was nothing I could move into if building an online business as a professional life coach didn't work. So I stayed committed, I got through it, and in the end I found a different way, and since then I've built a really, really great business. For today, I want to challenge all of you as you're listening to me speak to focus on one insight. So let me talk about the nature of coaching. All coaching is about insight. The distinction is, are you offering yours or are you creating the space for people to access their own? And I can tell you from now 10 plus years of experience, and we've had 8,000 plus people come through our programs. I've worked on the front lines of this business in the sense that I lead the training calls. I'm talking to coaches, I'm coaching coaches, I'm coaching my own clients, offering our insights or trying to get people to get it, whatever it is, the information, the idea, the suggestion, it just doesn't work. Whereas getting it yourself does. So for today, I want to challenge you to walk away with just one insight. What could you take away today? What one realization, what one new awareness, what one deep personal experience of some new truth could you walk away from? And I was here, my first time I came was when Mason spoke. Several weeks back. And afterwards, the insight that I walked away from his absolutely incredible business global movement is that over a long period of time, staying very consistent and committed to making what we're creating absolutely incredible pays off, because this guy's got a big time business. I was here last week and I heard Daniela Centrone speak, and she came up, and if you were here, she just gave this beautiful emotional talk, and she had no notes, and she just spoke from the heart, and she shared nothing but stories. And the insight I walked away from is, when it comes to speaking, I don't have to be prepared. What I have to do is share from the heart and share stories, because stories really connect with people. So that helped me not prepare. I got other things to do. I got to focus on making money. So insight, just so you know, is the starting point of all change. You cannot change unless you have an insight. And once you have an insight, change is inevitable. So hold on to that. Change is inevitable. Everything that you've ever done in your life, and let's say all of us in this room starting to pursue something beyond the day job, something that you're creating, something that you're passionate about, it came from a moment or a series of moments when you had an insight, or you realized, I can do this. I can do what they're doing. I see these people online creating these wonderful lives, making money, creating their own life, their own hours, their own freedom. I can do that. That is an insight. Or maybe you were working in a job where you had this point when you absolutely fully realized to your innermost self, I can't do this and I'm not doing this anymore. That was the insight. Or maybe you were in a relationship, and the relationship, it's not been working and it's never going to work, but you haven't actually had that deep insight of that. And then once you do, it's done. Insight is the starting point of all change. You cannot change unless you have an insight. And then once you do, change is inevitable. So one of the things that we do as entrepreneurs, a mistake we make, is that we try to get a lot of information. I might go to the next Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within event, and I'm there for 3 or 4 days, and I'm jumping up and down, and I'm feeling amazing, and I'm taking notes, and I got 58 ideas on Monday morning that I'm going to implement. And then based on having 58 ideas rather than 1 or 2, I implement nothing. Most of us here are suffering from perfectionism, waiting for conditions to be perfect, starting things and never really finishing them, over-concerned with what people think, people pleasing. People pleasing will destroy your ability to create a real business and be a real leader. So whether you're a coach or anything else you're doing, your ability to create a real business will be based on you stepping up and being a real leader. And the leader you have to be is for yourself, because you've got to get committed. Everything you ever want in your life is the result of getting committed. Once you get committed, nothing else is required. Everything will work itself out. So what I've learned about my business and about business in general, and why I failed versus why I now succeed, is that for the majority of the years, and this is even to this day, the majority of the years when I wasn't making money, and even today when I'm not making money, it's only because of one thing. It's because each day I don't do what I need to do to make money, and I do everything else except that. And that's all it will ever be. So building a business, whether it's a business as a life coach, whether it's a business as a board game creator and launcher, whether it's a business as a cookie maker, it will always come down to, success will always come down to our ability to get really clear on what needs to get done and then getting it done. And the biggest thing that's going to get in the way is the phone. The phone is a destroyer of dreams. In my business, I tell our coaches, I say this, there is no competition in coaching. No competition, because most of the coaches, probably 97% of the aspiring life coaches in the world, or any other kind of entrepreneur, can't get rid of the phone, set the phone aside, can't stop allowing the phone and the world's agenda, all of the businesses and people, to continue or to stop disrupting our dreams. I gotta say, having an email app on my phone and allowing people to email 24/7 and come into my notifications, that makes no sense to me, except when I get really clear on this one truth. I don't don't actually want to succeed. I don't want money and I don't want to succeed. And there's an exercise that we use in our coaching business, which is I don't want money. It's called inversion thinking. It's the opposite. I don't want money, so I don't wake up when the alarm goes off in the morning. I've got full notifications on for all apps and all social media accounts. I'm constantly looking at my phone, constantly disrupted. I can't ever really get anything done. I can't work for 30 minutes or 1 hour straight without being disrupted. When there's a shiny object or something that I could somehow participate in, I'm there, baby, I'm there, even though over here is where I need to be. Here is where I need to be, and I need to be doing the work that I know I need to be doing, but I'm scared to do it. I don't realize consciously that I'm scared. I'm scared though. I'm scared I'm gonna succeed because wow, I'll change. And deep down inside, I don't want to change. I'm scared I'm going to fail. What if I go all in? What if I actually do what I need to do and then it doesn't work? What does that say about me? Deep down inside, I have feelings of unworthiness. That's part of what drives my wanting to build something incredible and make something great out of my life. And at the same time, those feelings of unworthiness keep me from doing the things I need to do. Everything that we want is on the other side of us getting really clear around what's really true about ourselves. So what I've learned about making any kind of successful business is you got to quit fucking around. You got to do what needs to get done no matter what. When I do that, I make money. I make a lot of money. And when I don't do that, I make no money. I make no money. Best way to grow your business is to destroy it. So that's that inversion thinking. So a process that we use is asking yourself, if I had to destroy my business, what would I do? And by the way, I'm sharing this with you because I want to create awareness, right? You get it, you hear it, you think about it, you say, yeah, that feels right, that is right. Let me get more honest with myself. So if I had to destroy my business, what would I do? First thing in the coaching space would be stop making offers. When I make offers, I make money. When I don't make offers, I don't make money. Next would be I would stop bringing in prospective clients. When I have people regularly coming into my business, aware of it, usually having been somehow served by it, just telling people about your business is never going to work. You have to create a relationship and connect with people on a personal level, at least in coaching. And then the last thing, if I had to destroy my business, is stop showing up. So in order to grow my business, I need to be making offers. I need to be bringing in new prospective clients, and I need to be committed and consistent. And again, that's for me. I mean, I wake up early, I get out of the house, I get to the office, I keep everyone closed off. In fact, my office is down at the other end of Main Street here across from Hush in that little office building with therapy and all these kinds of things. And I'm so proud because most days I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I start work at 5. And at 9, I've worked 4 uninterrupted hours with nothing in my way. And then the people in the building start coming in. And I hear them coming in, and that's fine. Now, I'm very judgy. You know, I'm always comparing myself to other people, and I want to win. I mean, I want to be the best, but every day I hear them come in, and I've already logged 4 hours of focus work. I think I'm winning because I am winning. Here's a practice. I'm going to leave you with this. This is how you can start your day. So when I get to work each morning, it's 5 o'clock. I'm coffeeed up. It's quiet. You know, I drive down Main Street, by the way. We live up above the cross. We live in the mountains, a beautiful, beautiful property. Each morning when I come down, that's my time. It's 13 minutes. No one's on the road. I could cut through to Main Street to get to my office a bit quicker, but I come around to East Savannah Street because I love just driving from East Savannah across and just being in the energy of gratitude for this cool little downtown that I now have an office in. So when I get to my desk, I've got music, I've got more coffee, I'm feeling great. And I have a practice. I ask myself 4 questions. So I want to go through it right now with you. And Jeff, I've got those 4 questions in front of you, my friend. So I'd like you to ask me the first one. I want you to coach me right now. Let's see how this works. Because by the way, in the presence of the question, the mind thinks more deeply. That's why coaching, get on a little coaching tangent. Most coaching is, I'm talking too much, I'm the coach, I'm telling you what I think you should do. I'm not asking questions. I'm not creating the space or the opportunity for someone to go deep within themselves. In the presence of the question, you should be asking yourselves questions each morning to start your day so that you can have more clarity. Go with the first question, my friend.
With your business, what is the hardest thing you need to get done?
I've booked an event in Atlanta. It's in a month from today. We don't even have Facebook ads going. It was an insane thing that I did, and it's got me going. The hardest thing is to finish the whole sales page and Facebook ad thing. God, every part of me wants to not do it because I got to make it perfect. So I need 2 years, but I got about 2 days. Next question, Jeff. Here it is.
With your business, what would most efficiently create the most money?
Love that. So it's not that actually. We've got new programs that we're offering, and we need to develop some emails and some sales pages for those programs and get them to our email list. As soon as we do, we're going to make money. Next one.
You have to show your business. How would you do so with that?
I would, what I said, it doesn't really change. I would cease making offers and I would start making trouble with my current clients. I would slack off and not give them what they expect as their coach or trainer. Thanks for the question. What's the last one?
Considering what's coming to mind, what is the most important thing you must get done?
So there's the question. So the first three questions are just to create awareness for you so that you know what's actually happening in your business and realign you to the one thing that has to happen, which is money. You have to be focused on making money. So many of us, we forget about that part of the business. And a great question to ask yourself is, if I had to make money today or I die or I'm killed, what would I do? There would be something you would do that wouldn't be what you normally do. You just go do it. In my business, I would turn to Mason. I would turn to the person around me. I would reach out to the people who I care about, who care about me, and I would offer to coach them. That would be the only way I would make money. But beyond that, there's nothing else. So for me today, the most important thing I must get done is every second I can focus on finishing the marketing for the Atlanta event. So that was a decision between the money right now for these other programs that I mentioned versus this thing that's coming up. It's got to be this thing coming up. So that's the practice. And then do that and do the one thing. You know, there's a great coach in the coaching world. His name is Steve Chandler. And he had this teaching. He called it the ultimate productivity tool. And it was an audio. And when I got it, I said, oh man, this guy is so smart. He's full of wisdom. He's the man in my space. Can't wait to hear what this is. You know, it's going to be this whole system. I'm going to get so much done. And then the whole thing, it was just do one thing. Every day, do one thing to completion. That's the biggest thing. Thank you for letting me present.